Alrighty, guys. Good morning, or I should say good afternoon to you all here. Happy Friday, June 6th, 2025. I do want to start out by saying thank you guys for all the birthday wishes yesterday. I enjoyed it very, very much. I just appreciate all the love and all the support you guys give in general here to me and to the stream and to the platform. Very, very much well expected from you guys, as always. So I appreciate you guys beyond words. Second thing here, we've got a lot of severe weather today. A big day of severe weather outbreak potential once again today here from the plains all the way up to the lower Ohio Valley. I myself have been a pretty big tornado risk here for today. Wouldn't say pretty big, but a pretty decent tornado risk, wind threat, and hail threat. The reason why this video was not put out earlier this morning is we actually lost power this morning. We had a line of storms that came through about 9 and 10 o'clock this morning and ended up wiping out our power for a little bit. We do clearly have it back on, so I'm able to make this video for you guys. I will mention as well, we are expected to see another round of intense storms here in the next couple of hours. I'm going to wait to do live stream coverage until after our storms pass through. It looks to be around 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll probably start our stream this afternoon. It could be a little bit later, but we'll be covering everything in the plains this afternoon. The lower Ohio Valley will kind of be watching you guys. I'm going to try and see if I can get to stream some of the storms that do come to our area today, if I can today for you guys. But other than that, live stream coverage will start well after 5 or 6 p.m. Central Time tonight. That's really not going to be until when these storms initiate. It's going to be a little bit later than what yesterday's storms initiated as. But a pretty big day for severe weather today. The same as yesterday, pretty much. Honestly, this identical I should say this risk zone today is very identical to yesterday's risk zone. Kind of looks a little bit wonky too. I've seen some memes made about today's risk zone in terms of the way that it looks. If you notice it, you can say it in the chat. It's quite funny. It's not the first time we've seen SPC kind of look a little bit interesting, but I'll let you guys figure that out yourselves when we get to that point there. But I do want to talk seriously about what's going to be happening today. We'll have a wind, hail, and tornado threat. We've already got lots of showers and thunderstorms that are ongoing here back into the plains this morning, back into the Ozarks here. We had a lot of tornado warnings, as I expected. I told y'all yesterday we were going to have a pretty big overnight event across the state of Oklahoma and into western portions of Arkansas this morning, and that in fact did happen. A pretty big damaging wind event unfolded, as well as with a couple of QLCS tornadoes also happened with that. I have not seen a lot of reports in terms of tornado damage, so that is one good thing as we get those reports in. If there is any, I'll let you guys know in future videos as always. But currently right now, showers and storms across the board here. Got a couple complexes of storms, some severe thunderstorm warnings here into Kentucky. Actually, that line of storms is what came through our area here this morning. Complex back down here into Missouri and Arkansas is re-intensifying as daytime heating commences, and we do have showers and storms up here, and there will be some type of severe weather threat later on into the northeast. So a very, very big risk zone today. Same applies to tomorrow into Sunday and even into Monday now, where we're going to have to watch closer to the Gulf states. And then we start to transition. Severe weather kind of starts to diminish as we go to the middle and end of next week, and then we may start to see severe weather return to areas that have not seen it yet, and I'll talk about that at the end of the video. We'll go ahead and talk about our risk zones that we got out here for today. And like I said, if you see the risk zone here, kind of looks a little bit wonky. If you got that mindset, I thought it was kind of funny just a little bit the way the risk zone is shaped. But anyways, regardless of that here, we do have two areas, a double barrel enhanced risk once again today, slight risk in the yellow and a little slight risk back up here in the northeast, and a marginal risk in the dark green, a general thunderstorm risk outside of that here into the light green area here. Now, I want to go to the hail threat first because this is where those enhanced risks are at. We do have a small 5% chance of seeing 1 to 2 inch diameter hail back up into Boston, Massachusetts, up here towards the northeast corridor here. And our major hail region today is going to be back into the plains once again. Lubbock, you guys got very, very lucky yesterday in terms of not seeing a huge tornado. We had a PDS tornado on the ground yesterday for a good 2 hours, moving its way close to Lubbock, and it actually lifted by the time it got into Lubbock. But you guys did see some significant wind, some hail as well out of that. I saw a lot of the reports coming out of that area yesterday. Definitely got battered with storms yesterday for sure. You guys are going to be in the chopping block again today. Lubbock all the way up to Pueblo, up into Colorado here, West Texas, Western Oklahoma, southwestern portions of Kansas. It's a very, very identical risk zone to yesterday. Actually, really the same thing. We just may have a little bit less storm coverage than what yesterday was, depending on a couple of factors, and we'll talk more about that later on here. But the hatched hail threat there, 30 and 15% hatched, meaning hail could exceed 2.5 inches in diameter. Outside of that hatched region in the 15 and 5%, we could see hail 1 to 2 inches in diameter. The wind threat also going to be a 15 and 5%. Really not looking at too much of a wind threat today. I wouldn't be surprised to see SPC go enhanced with a risk zone update later on this afternoon if they need to. Back down here in Oklahoma, we're going to have once again another line of storms that's going to develop overnight tonight and move through the state of Oklahoma and through Kansas. Same as last night. I mentioned that in the last couple of videos, trying to get you guys prepped for this. It's going to be the same thing here. We're going to have to watch for that there wind threat wise. And then the tornado threat today just got updated. We now have a 5% tornado risk back here into western Kentucky. I myself am included in that. We've also got most of Tennessee, Jackson, Nashville, back into Bowling Green, Kentucky, eastern Missouri, southern Illinois, northeastern Arkansas, and another 5% back here into the plains, and then as well as a 2% outside of that. So two different corridors we're watching. Like I said, we probably won't be going live until after 5 or 6 p.m. I'm going to wait for our storms to go through. I don't want to ever be on stream and then get a tornado warning and then, be stuck in a situation where I have to, we don't have the kids ready or any of that. So that's why I always wait to get on stream until after our storms come through. Some people get mad. Some people don't care. Some people don't care at all. I'm here to tell you guys our kids' safety comes first. Y'all all know that. Most of y'all respect that. So I do appreciate that. But that's our risk zone for today. I'll get to the timing here in just a second. Tomorrow's risk zone really not changed much since yesterday's update. We got a little bit more of a shift, slight risk here up into Missouri, but we are going to be looking at a pretty big risk zone for tomorrow. Huge slight risk here. This goes from the plains all the way back into the southeast here of the East Coast. Level 2 slight risk there. Level 1 marginal risk in the green. And then another little marginal risk back up here into the plains. Tomorrow is going to be a wind threat. We've got a wind-driven slight risk tomorrow, 15 and 5% chance of seeing winds 60 to 70 miles per hour, 15 and 5% chance of seeing hail 1 to 2 inches in diameter, and we do have a small to medium-sized 2% tornado risk here. Tornadoes could form within a 25-mile radius of a given location here, 2% in each 25 radius given location. So just be mindful of that. If you're out and about, I wouldn't be shocked to see an elevated 5% tornado risk be issued at some point here. You will see what happens on the day 2 update today. We'll get to the timing here on that in just a minute, and then we go to Sunday. Sunday is going to be very, very interesting. Another big risk zone here, another enhanced risk here for western Texas. You guys just cannot catch a break here. Level 3 enhanced risk here, Amarillo, Lubbock, Wichita, back down into Oklahoma here, southwestern Oklahoma, slight risk outside of that there. This is going to be one different storm system. So this is a new system that's going to be coming in on Sunday. We'll still be dealing with the remnants of the system coming in tomorrow that's going to be working its way off the East Coast. So that's why that slight risk is at play from Virginia Beach back through the Carolinas, back into Georgia and eastern Alabama here. So 2 different storm systems. We'll talk more about this once we get on stream later on this afternoon. Remember, guys, I will not be live covering tomorrow. We won't be live at all. We will be live on Sunday covering storms. I'll be very, very busy tomorrow. I won't be able to get on to cover. I'll have a video out for you guys tomorrow. But nevertheless, though, storms will be ongoing going into Sunday here, and probabilities are hatched, more than likely looking at a 30% and 15% hatched hail threat. We'll see what those probabilities do as we go into the next 2 days here. And then we're not done after that, guys. We've got a day 4 slight risk introduced once again here for Monday, and this is going to be down here for the southeast, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, southern Arkansas. We haven't talked about you guys in a while here, and you guys are going to start to get back into the severe weather conversation here. I do expect this to be mostly a damaging wind and a hail threat. There will be probably an isolated tornado threat with this, but we'll know more details on this once we get into the future here. And another thing after that, the day 5, day 6, day 7, there's not anything right now. I do expect severe weather to diminish gradually here as we go into early next week here. We'll probably have a couple days of severe weather, but we start to see ridging develop, and we'll talk more about that in future videos as well. Here's an idea of what today is going to look like. I'm going to run through this pretty quickly here. Showers and storms moving through it right now. We've got this leftover MCS, this mesoscale convective scale system here moving through Missouri. This is actually going to re-intensify as it crosses into Kentucky, and we're going to see new supercells try to fire off here in the next couple of hours here. This is what we're going to be watching here. An elevated tornado risk, elevated wind threat, and elevated hail threat. And I wouldn't be shocked to see some pretty decent sized hail out there if some of these storms can stay, cold pool aloft or even down at the surface here. We're just going to have to watch it and see what happens. But this is going to be between really 1 o'clock this afternoon and about 5 to 6 p.m. It'll move through pretty quickly. And once this mode ends, or at least progresses eastward here through Tennessee and into eastern Kentucky, we should see most of the overall severe weather threat after midnight, really start to weaken pretty significantly here. So not a lot in terms of significant severe weather other than just the elevated tornado threat, the wind threat, the hail threat. Be mindful if you're in the lower Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley today. We go and we look as well here at the plains, and like I said, storms are going to initiate a little bit later. We see once again strong supercells here watching the Lubbock area very, very closely here. We're going to have to watch up into western Oklahoma once again as well, but there could be once again the same setup as yesterday, strong to severe storms, large hail, damaging winds, and a couple tornadoes can't be ruled out here. Wouldn't even rule out once again a strong tornado if they can become outflow dominant, kind of like what we saw with that storm outside of Lubbock yesterday. But nevertheless, a little bit less coverage in storms, at least what the models are indicated. But models are models. We all know that they can, kind of go against the odds of what the actual weather does. But I want you guys to see something. We're once again going to undergo supercell formation here going into the 11 o'clock and midnight hour tonight. And we're going to have another line of storms develop into western and central Oklahoma into the overnight hours tonight. I don't know how well this is going to develop quite yet. We'll see how this progresses to the evening hours. But if you're in the state of Oklahoma, southern Kansas, you need to be weather aware. As always here, we could see the threat for significant severe weather going into the overnight hours here. We'll talk more about tomorrow's threat here in the live stream later on this afternoon. I'm still waiting on a couple new model runs to initiate to kind of show what's going to happen with that. But I will show you guys one more thing here, and that is going to be the tornado parameters. We can kind of see where those elevated tornado parameters are at. And you're like, all right, why do we have a 5% tornado risk back up here in Kentucky and into Tennessee? That's for outflow dominant supercells. The models don't typically pick up on the tornado parameters very, very well with those type of setups here, but we will have enough wind shear that we could promote a couple of tornadoes up in western Kentucky, Tennessee, eastern Missouri, and northeast Arkansas. But you can see really where that confined tornado risk is going to be at. And I would not be shocked if SPC needs fit and we see an uptrend in the next 3 hours here. By the time the 3 o'clock day 1 1 update comes out, I wouldn't be shocked to see a 10% hatch tornado risk be introduced once again. We'll just kind of see what happens with that. But nevertheless, here, watching those tornado parameters increase to the evening, and then the overnight hours, they start to weaken as, low level shear does decrease and moves its way eastward. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm going to give just a brief overrun once again here on our overall global pattern here that we're going to be having. And like I said, just a lot of wind shear all over the board here. This allows for severe storms to happen. Don't need a lot of troughing to initiate severe weather here. And like I said, going into Saturday, going into Sunday, I want to continue to watch here in the southeast. Lots of bulk shear at place. What we start to continue to see here is a trend in high pressure dominance going into early next week, and that's going to limit severe weather, especially in the Rockies here. What we are going to see, though, is a trend up in severe weather, I think, going into Monday and into Tuesday here, especially up here into the high plains. We could see some damaging winds, some hail, and maybe even in some of these mesoscale convective days going into early next week. We're going to have a troughing as well come down with this. This will allow for some cooler temperatures again going into early next week. Shouldn't last super long. Ridge starts to build. We really start to see temperatures increase going into that. You typically get this ridge on the left and then a trough on the right. That's typically what happens a lot of the times during this month of June and even into July. Ridging continues. And then what we start to see is a big change, I think, going into the middle of June. And we're going to continue to watch this for you guys, at least for the severe weather side of things. But it looks to be that high pressure starts to try to develop here in the Ohio Valley. This will be the first time we see something like this in quite some time. We've been rain, severe storms. I know if you live in this area, you're probably tired of seeing rain and severe storms. But what's going to potentially happen here, especially as we go towards next Friday, next Saturday, is troughing will build on the western side of a ridge here in the Ohio Valley in the southeast and the plains, and it's going to promote a higher chance of seeing severe weather over top of that ridge. So the northeast, we typically see severe weather transition more to you guys going into June, going into July. We get these wind events. We had this happen a lot last year. The Midwest, the high plains, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin. This would be the area right here that I want to watch going into the second, third, and even the fourth week of June for a potential uptick in severe weather. Not set final in stone yet, but I just want to keep you guys updated on that because we start to see troughing, and when we start to see a pattern like this, we can actually get some pretty significant severe weather events in this area up here, especially up into Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, up into Nebraska, and even into Wyoming and Montana. So we're going to have to watch this very closely. We'll keep you guys updated on that. Ridging is a big thing. This will allow for very warm summer-like temperatures to be at play. It'll be very dry as well. So just something we'll have to continue to watch as we go through the next couple of days here. So I'm going to leave you guys with that today. I'll have a live stream way later on this evening. If I'm able to get one in, that will be the plan. Other than that, guys, be safe, be weather aware, respect watches and warnings. As always, know where to go when you get alerts, and we will see you guys in the next one. Be safe, guys.